Got dreams of being a professional podcaster, but have no idea what you're doing?
This is impossible.
That's about to change.
A new kind of school.
Welcome to the Pod School Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the show. Today I'm going to be talking about the importance of editing your podcast. If you are not doing this already, I would highly advise you to do it. If you are not doing it because you have no editing skills, then there are plenty of services available, including my online podcasting course, Pod School, that can help you get the training and the skills up to do basic editing that will just help you ship out a show that is in much better shape than the one that ends up coming out when you just open the microphone, start yabbering on, and then ship out whatever ends up going down on tape. Your show is your business card. It is your brand. Every single episode of your program goes out into the ether and is ingested into people's ears, and you want it to be as best as it possibly can be. If you've never thought about audio in a show way, in that you haven't done much audio work before, then it can be a bit difficult to work out what the structure of a show should be. But there is very rarely a time when there won't at least need to be some kind of work on the edit after you've recorded an episode. Essentially, you just want to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward. And more often than not, you will notice when you're recording something in the moment, when you're having the chat or doing the interview or talking about the content, it will always feel like that discussion went for much shorter than it actually did. And the most important thing that you can remember when you are editing your podcast is that your audience has no idea about what didn't go in. I've been working with some people helping them on their edits lately, and one of the things that they really struggle with is leaving stuff on the cutting room floor. Naturally, if you've got killer stories and great gear and it's all really succinct and your guest or you deliver it in a beautiful bite-sized piece with a bow on it and it sounds great, you're never going to let those kind of bits of an episode slide. But if your guest takes a while to get to their story, or you and your co-host go off-piste for a little bit, or it takes a while to get to the crux of what you're trying to say, it is always going to be for the best for you to edit that stuff out. You want the show that ends up in your listeners' ears to be as perfect as it possibly can be. Of course, it is never going to be absolutely perfect, but if you just trim down some of the fat, it will be much more enjoyable for the person who's having to consume that content. You need to be willing to let go of some of the things that you spoke about in the show and realize that your audience will never have a clue that they didn't make it into the episode. You want your audience wanting more every time they come to your show, and the way to do that is to make sure that you're only putting the best of the best into that program. Next week, I will talk about some of the ways that you can actually make your edit easier when you're at the record stage of the process. But for now, I just want you to marinate on the idea that the only person who knows what is in that original audio is you. So whatever you cut out, your audience will have no idea, and they will always be better off for you going through and tidying up that show and making sure it's as good as it possibly can be by the time it gets to them. Thanks so much for joining me this week. As always, you can head to podschoolpodcast.com, where there are a whole bunch of resources there to help you, including a tech guide that will take you through all the tech that you need to set up a home studio, and a link to my online podcasting course, Pod School, where I take you through all of the steps of the podcasting process from beginning to end. I'll see you next week, and until then, happy podcasting.
That's all for today.